Today we're looking at the ETM series digital programmable control. Just want to go through the screens, how to create a program, how to edit a program, save, execute a program. On the left hand side you've got your start and your return button. In the upper left hand corner it gives you the amount of spring back. Right now we have the spring back set at 4. This is your degree of bend. So as you're looking at it, it shows you the program. On program number 1, it shows the first step, which they refer to as a phase, and the second is the degree of bend, or the angle. Okay. In the upper right hand corner, as you scroll across, this button here, the vice or the Mansa button, basically is used only when you're using a mandrel or other custom tooling. It's basically application specific. You also have an automated button as well as a manual button, and I'll show you how to the function of those two as we go through it. Okay, so to create a program, use your stylus and you hit the set button. What it gives you is, on the left hand side you have bending capacities, and we'll get into that as well. This is your degree of spring back. This is the number of the program here. This is how to set your spring back. You have 5 different positions. Basically you have a 5 bend program. Overall you have 40 programs with 5 bends each. Okay, so to set the spring back is basically when you have a tube or a pipe. This is your counterbending housing. This will have your counterbending dies on it, and then you have the jaw, which in this case we're working on a mandrel machine. But you have your jaw and you have your former. So when you put your pipe in here and you have everything set up, you bring this forward, you bring this to where the counterbending formers touch the profile. You lock this in. The spring back is going to be the difference, so you'll see a gap generally between here and the pipe. So the spring back is just basically to set the distance, to bring this up enough to where it touches the outside face of the tube or the pipe. To set your spring back, you're going to hit the spring back set. It drops that to 0. Once you do that, you're going to hit the start button and you're going to jog it just enough to where it brings up and touches the inside face of the jaw, touches the outside edge of the tube or the pipe. Okay, so now that I know it's touching, my spring back is 3 degrees, I can go in and make changes to this program. Let's say we want to do a 90 degree bend. Okay, so I've entered 90. Go in on my second one. Let's say I'm just going to make a one bend program. So once I have entered my spring back, I've entered my 90 degrees, then all I do is hit exit. 3 degrees of spring back, 90 degrees. Now the automated button, if I have this depressed, I can hit the start button and it will count out the degree of spring back, and it will go to the designated degree of bend, which in this case is 90 degrees. And it does it automatically for you. Okay, so it's going to stop. Now I go back and hit the return button. So automatically moves forward, it stops, you hit the return button and it comes back. If we switch this over to the manual, okay, I have to depress the start button and the return button throughout the bend cycle. If I pick my hand up off of it, then the former stops and the rotation stops. So you can switch over to automatic and return it automatically. Okay, so let's create a multi-step program. Let's clear out the spring back, and let's say you have a bigger pipe. You want to bump it forward until you find where they touch. Your bending cycle begins. Let's make a short program. Step 1 is 25 degree. Step 2 is 35 degree. Hit enter. Step 4 is 45. And then you hit exit. Now you see you're in program 1. Step 1 is to the target. You've got your 4 degrees of spring back. Your degree of bend's 25. I've switched over into automatic mode. Return. Then it changes. You'll see it go to the second step, 35 degree. Third step, 45 degree. And the last step here in the program, step number 4, to a 90 degree. Here's another way you can set your spring back. We're in program number 1. Rather than bumping it up here, if you know your spring back and you've been accustomed to the machine and you know you're in between 3 and 4 degrees of spring back for, let's just say, 1.5 inch schedule 40 pipe, you can go straight into here and pick your degree of spring back. And let's go in and enter our degree of bend. Let's go 45, make it shorter. Okay, so we're going to exit out and we're going to run that program. So it's going to count out 4 degrees and then it's going to go to 45 degree of bend. We're going to return that. So let's say, for example, the amount of the actual spring back on the tube or pipe, when you go 45 degrees, it's just not enough. It's not all the way there yet. So you can go back in and and add up to 1 degree if you like. So 45 may not get you all the way there, but 49 possibly could. And then you exit out and enter that program. Also, there's the capability here of what you have called the bending capacities. Okay, and what this is designed for is to let your operator know if they have any questions. It basically will allow them to determine whether a profile is exceeding the capacity of the machine. And what it does, it gives you the list here: ETM 60, 76, and 90. Let's just say we're on the ETM 76. The maximum there is roughly a 12. So if I enter, let's just say, the outside dimensions at 60 millimeters, that's the OD, and I do the internal wall at 30 millimeters, and I calculate that, it gives me a 19. So I know that that profile is already over capacity for the machine. I can't go any higher than a 12. That's for pipe, round tube, round pipe. Let's also look at square bar. So let's just enter 60 millimeter OD, and I go ahead and calculate that, and you can also see it's overloaded. That's on table 1. We can go into table 2 as well. This just basically gives you a guide as to the diameter of the tube, the wall thickness, and the radius that can be obtained. And anything smaller than this would basically require a mandrel. You can go back to tab number 1 and calculate, and then you can also go back to exit. And that primarily wraps up the overview of the digital programmable control on the ETM tube and pipe bending series.